Last time out, Declan and Graeme had started their journey on the White Rim Trail. Test of the Royal Enfield Himalayan revealed a bike that is more capable off-road, adequate on the road, allowed us to feel that we could go anywhere because it never pushed our limitations and we felt in control at all times.
So we keep going. And the trail itself would morph between an actual trail and then you'd be like riding along the edge. It gets its, I guess it gets its name from the white coloured rock along the rim.
Right.
So again, they've come up with an incredibly creative name. It's called the White Rim Trail, and God knows how that worked out. But and then when you're in those cliffs, then you're looking down into another canyon. So you're in a canyon, now you're looking in another canyon. So it's like one of those like Russian doll things,
yeah.
You know, you like pop it off and there's a little one in there. So, and then there was probably another canyon below that. And we could see the Green River and the Colorado River somewhere.
And you were wondering if you're going to end up in one of those canyons, like we're up on the edge now, but maybe we were going to end up down there a few miles later. We really didn't know what to expect.
No idea.
And that's really...
But that was easy for another 800 feet, do you think? Down to the bottom?
At least. I mean, it's just incredible terrain. And, you know, if you look at it and you think about it, it's now, I mean, like I mentioned, you know, you look at the rangers cautioning everybody because, you know, it's easy. I can imagine that they have some horrific stories because there's people that go there, Graeme, and they wouldn't be as prepared as us, you know.
Yeah, they wouldn't have got the Gatorade. Yeah. But then, you know, then there's people that go down there and they camp, and they've got all these different camps. I guess there's 7 camps along the way with these like toilets that you can use. Now, I should say that the entire day, and we consumed, like by the time we got back to the pub late that night, I've just given the game away, so we've made it. We've drunk how many, like 20 bottles of Gatorade, water,
giant beers, more water, Gatorade,
more this, more that. And literally did not take a piss until the next morning.
It's never happened to me in my life.
Never, ever, ever. I mean, I have no idea. We must have been like so close to dehydrating, and
we must have been on the edge.
But so I think if anyone's planning on do it, they really should think about water. Like that's one thing that because you cannot get water down there. There's no potable water down there. No. You can get rid of it in the toilet. You can carry it in and drink it and get rid of it in the toilet, but you're not going to get any when you're down there unless you bum some off somebody else, which the guy in the broken down car did. Remember
Yes.
We saw this guy and we bumped into another chap on the thing. He's in a Toyota Tacoma and he said, we asked if he'd seen the broken down car. He goes, yeah, he was up there. I gave him some water and he put it in his radiator. And he was not happy about it.
It was gushing out, so he's like, I ain't giving him any more water.
I'm not giving him any. And he said to us, don't give him any more water because they're just going to pour it in the radiator and it'll come out the bottom. So we kept going and it got freaking gnarly.
That's an understatement, I would say.
Yeah.
So while this bike may not be the prettiest, the fastest, or the most technically advanced, it ultimately didn't need to be.
I remember coming up to this one section where we rode up to one of those campsites, you know, and I was in front and I'm on the track. I get to the end of the track and I'm like, I don't know where the road went. And I'm driving around looking for the road, and then you go, I found it. And I rode over to you, and I looked over the edge, and I shit myself. Because it just literally just went over the edge and like this, down.
I thought we were going to have to turn back at that stage. Actually, I thought, well,
you were brave, so you went first. I was sitting there like crying, and I thought to myself, there is no fucking way I'm going down that thing. And then you went, and I go, now I have to go down that thing because you've gone. So this is how we know that the engine braking on that bike is fantastic, and the ABS and whatever other control mechanisms you've got, including Sweet Baby Jesus. We got down that thing, and then I thought that's the hardest bit. We've done it.
Yeah, we did. We thought that was challenging, but we were okay.
Little did we know that was preparing us for the really hard bits.
Yes, and when you think back on that, we were on the ideal machinery to tackle it, because I don't think we would have tackled or got to the end of that trail on the bigger adventure bikes. I genuinely think that we would have to really have a conversation about, should we turn back?
I know, it's like I've seen photos on the internet of people down there on those big Africa Twins. I guess that's probably something that it's probably more suitable than a big GS, perhaps, but
maybe
it's still a big bike. And I would not be happy looking over that cliff, look at that road, knowing that I had to somehow manhandle an 800-pound motor or a 700-pound motorcycle down that thing, and if I made a mistake, not only will I hurt myself, I'll fuck up a perfectly good $15,000, $17,000, $20,000 motorbike.
Exactly, and think about how many times we had to pick the Himalayans off the ground. If we had to pick an adventure bike off the ground, that would be the energy expended that we would have been. So,
well, I guess this actually then begins my series of things where I leaned the bike over
a little bit,
because I was going along that sand track just after that descent, and we'll get you some video of it here. I was going along, everything was good, and then I just hit this boggy sand, and the whole bike virtually just came to a grinding halt, and I went from 30 miles an hour to 0 miles an hour in about 2 seconds, and ended up sideways in the bush with the bike on top of my leg.
I remember thinking when I saw you on the ground that the bike was on your leg, but for the Alpine Star boots that you were wearing, I genuinely think you would have been in trouble, because the bike was totally on you, and you went down at a fair decent speed.
Yep.
So
and the crash bar, the factory crash bar, the Royal Enfield one, that thing bent back.
Did its job.
I mean, it protected the bike, but it bent back. I busted the light that I put on the thing. Yeah. And then I was stuck in a bush that had I must have landed in the only prickle bush for 200 miles, and I happened to land in it. And then I got up, and you couldn't. You couldn't stop the bike because there was nowhere, no solid place to put that bike down. Yeah. So I get up, and then I had to lift the bike up, and
the adrenaline was flowing, and you just picked that bike up, and you were I'm okay, I guess.
But it's not easy, but it's not that difficult.
Yeah, you can do it.
You can do it. You just
do it,
sort of back into it and use your legs as a crane, and you're good. From there, I started respecting the track a little bit more, because I was before that I was we got to motor here. We're not going to do this in 14 hours. If it takes us 14 hours, because we didn't get through the toll, pay our sort of toll until 10:30 in the morning.
Yes, yeah.
So if it was going to take us 14 hours, we would have been well into the
almost till dark.
Well, way dark. It would have been 12 midnight or something by the time we got just to the end of the trail. So we were kind of hammering pretty fast, but we never did above 15 miles an hour, which is the speed limit. So then we get that up.
Nowadays we wander for distraction, so join in on the journey.